video, we're going to talk about how to add and subtract decimals. There's 5 steps you need to remember. 1 is to line up the numbers vertically. 2, make sure the decimal points are lined up. 3, fill in any blank numbers with zeros so that you have the same number of significant digits. 4, bring the decimal straight down to the answer. 5, add or subtract following the rules of integers. So if you have 2 positive numbers, your answer will be positive. If you have 2 negative numbers, your answer will be negative. If you have a positive and a negative, you want to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So let's do a few. Notice I've rewritten them to make them easier to work with. So for this first one, negative 5.79 plus 34.09. You can see we have 2 different signs, but since the larger one is positive, our answer should be positive. So I rewrote it this way as a subtraction problem, just to make it easier. So I've lined up everything. So when we solve this, we'll have 9 minus 9, which gives us 0. Then we need to borrow from this 4. And we'll have 10 minus 7, which will give us 3. We've got to borrow again. We'll have 13 minus 5, which will give us 8. The 2 will just come down. Our decimal comes down. And your answer should be 28.3 or 28.30. And again, our larger number was positive, so your answer is positive. On number 2, both of your problems, your numbers are positive, so your answer should also be positive. So you can just go through and add normally. 6 plus 7 is 13, carry your 1. 3 and 6 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Bring your 1 over. 0 and 0 and 1 is your 1. 1 and 3 is 4. 2 and 2 is 4. Bring down this 1. Then go back and bring down your 0. Not your 0, your decimal. Okay, number 3 gets kind of tricky. You have this really big negative number, negative 675.2. And then you have plus 42.9. You know from the beginning your answer is going to be negative. So when we line it up, negative 675.2 plus 42.9, what are we really going to do? We're really going to be subtracting 42.9 from 675.2 and then adding our negative at the end. So first I want to add a 0 to my 0.2 to make our numbers even. So I'm going to do 0 minus 0 and get 0. I'm going to borrow from my 5. I get 12 minus 9 is going to give me 3. I'm going to do 4 minus 2 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3. I'll bring down my 6. Bring down my decimal. And then since my bigger number was negative, I'm going to put a negative out front. Because the rule says if your larger number is negative, your answer should be negative. So we should end up with a negative 632.3. Let's look at a couple more. Okay, so what if we start with a subtraction? Well, we're going to do same, switch, change. Keep the first one the same. Switch this to a positive. Make this a negative. So now I'm just adding 2 negative numbers. So I'm going to add negative 34.987. I'm going to add it to negative 23.078. Okay, so now I can do it just like I did before. 7 and 8 is 15. Carry the 1. 8 and 7 is 15 plus 1. That's 16. Carry the 1. 9 and 1 is 10. Carry the 1. 4 and 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 3 and 2 is 5. Bring down our decimal. Bring down our negative. Your answer is negative 58.065. Okay, and let's do one more. 2.167 minus 2.5. So we can go ahead and use same, switch, change. So now I have 2.167 plus negative 2.5. I'm going to add zeros as placeholders. Now, both of these have 2 as a whole number. Which one is actually the larger number? So our 2 is the same. We look in our tenths position. 2.5 is bigger, so our answer should end up negative. Let's go ahead and subtract. 7 minus 0 is 7. 6 minus 0 is 6. We're going to borrow from here and make this 11. 11 minus 5 gives you 6. And this stays at 1. 1 minus 2 should give you negative 1. And if you bring this down, actually, should be somewhere around that. You have 5 more in your examples. Work those for class tomorrow.